Hey, all right, folks, here we are for another session of Off the Grid. Hey, my next guest is an MC who calls Southern California home. He's a Project Blowed veteran and a pillar in the Los Angeles rap scene and underground hip hop in general. He's a true legend in my book. Your delivery is unique and your witty lyrics, man, mind blowing. And I think folks will feel pretty bad if they try to compare their catalog to yours. Man, just an extensive catalog of timeless music. And most importantly, is one third of the legendary Acid Rain crew. I wanted to welcome
Thank you, bro.
BeOND for joining us today. Hey, brother, thank you for taking
Thank
time to
you.
do this. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Thank you, man. Hey, real quick before we go into your storied resume, can we just talk about your background? Tell me where you were born, where exactly in Cali you call home, and when you started making music.
I was born in Montebello, which is like right down the street from East LA. Went to high school in Roland Heights, which is like kind of the West Covina area. Um, but my grandparents have my entire life, they lived in East LA. So I've always been, LA, San Gabriel Valley, West Covina area, just bouncing around. And really all of it has been our home because once I, started rhyming and clicking up with my homies, we were all over the place all the time. So pretty much LA County is home because different pockets of time we just were in different cities for during those eras.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you mentioned that you started rapping just way back in the day in the 90s, man. I saw you guys rhyming in San Jose like in 1999. So I know you guys were doing it way early 90s during the time of the golden age era of rap. And so, but
Right.
before that, what was your first exposure to music? Like, what were your parents listening to?
So my my mom was like my mom raised me. My father passed away when I was 3 months, and so my mom was like, okay, I need to do something to make sure that this isn't a cycle, or so she wanted to move me out of the scenery that I probably would have been involved in had my father not passed. And so she became strictly Christian, and her upbringing with me was just, she was afraid of the songs on the radio. She was afraid. So,
Oh,
but when I went to my grandparents' house, I was able to listen to, I was able to listen to K-Day and to Power when they would play their, when they at times that or certain nights they would play hip hop and stuff. And then just with my friends, we would just have one of my good friends had a Beastie Boys tape, and we would always
nice.
and they went in the Two Life Crew, so two totally different like spectrums of rap and hip hop, right?
Yeah.
But those were like
Uh-huh.
my early influences, and it was just like, dang, I like how fun the Beastie Boys sound, and it's dope that they're a group. And then Two Life Crew, like they're just straight nasty. That's crazy how far out you can go with your lyrics. So my spectrum, first on was very crazy. And I really liked rhymes. Even when I was younger, like I didn't really know rap. I just liked rhymes. I liked nursery rhymes. I just liked the idea of rhyming. So for me, it always intrigued me. And then once I heard that, then once it evolved and I heard rap, and then I continued to listen to rap. I learned like, oh man, like that basic nursery rhyme. Some people can pull it off well in the rap world, but that's not really what I like. I like these people who take it to the next level. And so, it just continued to evolve. I mean, listening to like Far Side and Souls of
Yeah.
Mischief and Diggable Planets and Leaders of the New School and all, it's
Yeah.
just my mind was just blown by how far you could take rhyming. And from there,
Yeah,
it
and
just
it's
got
funny. All the groups you mentioned were super ill groups that had awesome chemistry, and so that's how I feel about Acid Rain. And when the first time I saw you guys perform, I was just freaking blown, like holy cow! And so, and we'll talk about it later, but I think that's pretty important in the way that you guys put raps together. The chemistry, you guys really work on that really hard. Uh,
definitely,
is
definitely.
yeah, is that do you guys practice a lot before your performances or do you
Yeah,
guys just have a
like
natural?
we used to rehearse a lot. Like so,
Okay.
like before it was even like before we had a rehearsal studios or understood the importance of a rehearsal studio, we just
Yeah.
liked to just rap. I mean, and really like we got to a point where we were so focused on what we were writing and how to perfect it and how to say it. And that we kind of stopped listening to other hip hop, and it was only listening to our own stuff and just trying to push each other and understand like just styles and how to find rhythms within rhythms and try to find different pockets and different styles. And I mean, Gaja
Yeah.
definitely mastered that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and then I was going to bring this up now, but later, but I think I should bring it up now, man. I really felt like you guys transformed the sound of Latino hip hop, like the stuff that I was listening to back then, like is way different, man. So did you look at some of the older
Yeah,
Latino MCs as heroes? But what made you guys go the way that you went?
I mean, I liked it was it's weird because it's yeah, like I understood once I was really understanding hip hop and the different like genres within it. And even back then, it was way more limited than it is now. Now hip hop is a
Yeah.
gigantic genre, but before it was limited. And so like yeah, like there was like Kid Frost, which was totally
Right.
like the OG and just very simple. But I mean, and I liked it because I like the beat.
Legendary.
I like
Yeah.
I like the way he rhymed. I like that he represented. But I didn't really fall into like his demographic wasn't really who my people were like as far as like more
Gotcha.
chokers and gangsters that like family and stuff that's like that. But that wasn't me. So I mean,
Yep.
I appreciated him for what he was, and then there was like so it was really hard, and really that's all it was. There was what was those other guys?
Lighter shade of brown
Lion
too.
Shooter Brown. They were more hip hop.
Yeah.
They were like they could fit in with that
Yep.
within that genre, but they also had a hip hop side to them, right? That was
Yep.
a little bit more hip hop. And so for me, that was more. But even still, that was just a little too simplistic type of right. But
Yeah.
so and actually our mentors are LPG. So LPG are like the heads of Tunnel Rats, and these dudes are
Wow.
Dax and Journey. So these guys are they're a little bit older than us, and we're already mid 40s. So they're a little bit older. They were the pioneers. When we met them, my stepdad actually met them. They were youth pastor. Dax was a youth pastor, and he got them to start preaching at the church we went to because he knew that I was really into rap, and he felt
Yeah.
that he could help connect a lot of the youth by bringing someone like Dax in, and he did. And Dax and Journey were
Oh.
LPG, amazing, just mentors, just people, just really dope, and kind of opened us. If without them, I don't even know if Asser would exist because
Yeah.
God's uncle was like, oh, there's a rapper guy at our church now, and Nick,
Yeah.
which is God's name. Nick, I want to get him out of Baldwin Park and get him away from the gangsters. Let me bring him to church. So that's how we met. So
Nice.
if my stepdad ever met LPG, I don't even know if I would have met Gaja ever,
Oh,
right? And
that's
so that's how we
wild.
met. He came with his homie, and they were a group. I would go there with my cousins, and we were a group. Me and one of my cousins and his friends, and then we all joined forces, and it was like me and Gaja were the two that really were serious about it.
Yeah.
So everyone else kind of just lived, moved on with their life, and we continued to do the rhyming thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
so LPG being Hispanics and
Yep.
not being in that mold is what showed me that it really doesn't matter who or what you are. Like you just
Yeah.
express the way that you feel it and the way that you like it. And yeah, it was
Yeah.
just ended up they opened our eyes to this the bigger the how they basically opened the doors to the underground scene for us.
Yeah.
We got in there, we went wild. We're like kids in the candy store, literally kids in the candy
Yeah.
store, because we were, I mean, when we met, we were 13, 14 years old. And I mean, as soon as I was 16, I had my car, and we were going to the Good Life and going to the Project Bloat. At that time, the Good Life was already towards the very end, the last few weeks
Yep.
of it. But we did get to go there. We get to rock. We do have that as part of our resume, and
That's right.
for our own personal like gratification that yes, we rock the Good Life. But it was more about Blow to us, and that's where we would go every
Yeah.
Thursday and to make sure that we let them know that we're here to stay. Like we're coming here, we're learning from you guys.
Yeah.
We're big fans of what you guys are doing and how you're doing
Yeah.
it. But we think we could not necessarily come here and do and take what you're doing, but we can build off of it. And we have our own styles. And so yeah, we
Yeah.
went there and week after week after week, just proving ourselves. And
Yeah.
you
And
know,
I heard it was tough, man. Like I didn't grow up in LA, but everything I've read about Project Blowed, like folks were mean and folks would get booed if you were
No,
coming
at that
whack.
time, and especially at
Oh.
that time, like all these guys were way younger and very protective, and they didn't want someone coming in who were going to come and steal their styles and run off and go get a record deal, and all these different things that would go through their heads. And plus, they just didn't want outsiders around. Like, this is
Yeah,
it's kind of like a private club.
yeah,
Is kind of how it felt back then. It's like, you don't just pay dues to get in there. You have skills. Your skills are
yeah.
your dues to pay to get in there. So you got to
Wow,
represent on the corner, on the street.
amazing.
If there's a cipher going and it's your turn to rhyme and you don't rhyme, off the bat, they're like, okay, we're gonna hit some weaklings right here. We'll eat them up real quick. So you have to be
Yeah,
ready. You have to, right. And for us, that was energy that we lived off of. And back then too, the era, like right now, everybody's like, oh, let's hold hand and share resources, and oh, we're a big hip hop family. Back
right,
then it
right.
wasn't like that, and like it
No,
was more like
no, no.
F your crew, it's all about my crew. So
Yeah, that's
so
a
it
good
was really
point.
like, you really had to prove yourself and be able to stand your own ground. There wasn't like the big homie's gonna come and be like, nah, and I get the cosign. No. You had to go in there because then they'll be mad at the big homie, like, and start battling him because nobody was safe. So yeah, like
Dude, that's a good
and we
point,
loved it
dude.
because we would always leave thinking, or we would, as MCs, young and hungry and trying to be the better ones,
Yeah,
we would, there was some of the people there that we thought we were better than. So it was like, oh,
yeah.
when they wanted a battle, this is perfect, our opportunity to prove it. Um, and it just
Holy
turned out
cow.
being ironing, sharpening iron. And after a while, we weren't, we did have this couple of really huge battles where it was me and Gaja against all of Blood. But then those dissolved to where there was so many
Yeah,
of them after a while that we were part of the Blood team and we were getting other people. And
yeah.
yeah, man, and it was crazy. And I was very big on the please pass the mic. So if there was someone there who I felt isn't worthy, because I feel like me getting in, like I'm at the trenches. Like
Yeah.
so if someone wants to even try to get, they got to get past me first, and then they got to get past all these other guys and whatever. So if they get on the stage, and I don't think that they were up to par with what Acid Rain was doing.
Yeah.
Please pass. Please pass. I would start it off, and I'll probably a jerk for doing that because now that I'm older and now that I've been part of the game, and after a while, and now that I kind of see what that does to people or what that did to people, um, I probably could have eased up a little bit, but I was young and hungry and
Different
just
time.
fierce, and I was ready for it. It wasn't like I was gonna
Yeah.
do that because I had a bunch of people who had my back. Nah, like I'm ready. I'm telling you to please pass the mic. That means I think I could serve you. So if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
take it outside or you want to bring me up and
It's
get it
tough.
worse, I'm ready. And my energy was always that. Well, even if you can get through me, you're never gonna get through Gaja. Like he's my hidden weapon. So like no
Wow,
matter
you
what,
guys both
Acid Rain
did.
is gonna take the win, even if I have to go down. And he never really did because I think we were too
Yeah,
so confident and so fierce that
yeah.
a lot of times people wouldn't dare just challenge.
Yeah, and you guys middle school or high schoolers at the time? Or
High
dude,
school, high
you
school.
were really young. Dude, that's so crazy to think. And Omeka wasn't part of the group and you met him at that scene too, right? That's how you guys met him?
Right. He was actually there was a magazine called the Hip Hop Newswire that was a Project Bloat magazine,
Oh
and
wow.
I don't know who he was working with or whatever, who tasked him to write interviews. But when he seen Acid Rain, he was the same thing. Like these are the first Hispanic cats that I've ever seen who could rap like that. Like
No
like
kidding.
he, so he's like, they're getting on stage. Let me see. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be dope. And then when we rhymed and his mind was
Right.
blown. He was like, "Oh my God, this is everything. They're how I envisioned a Hispanic hip hop head could be, and they're
Yeah,
doing it." And he can
yeah,
see that it was obvious that we had already been there. People already knew us. It wasn't like we were our first day there. So we had already been seasoned and a part of the bloat already. So when he seen that
yeah,
and was excited, he was like, let me do an interview. I got to do an interview on you guys. Come to my
yeah.
house. Come through. We'll get it all in. So we did that, and from there, it's like he created a strong bond with Gaja through
Yeah,
instrumentation. Omeka could play the drum. At that time, he could play the drums really well. Now he could play a ton of instruments, but back then he was, the drums were his thing. And Gaja
yeah,
was always like really, really loved playing the keys and just
yeah,
many instruments, whatever he could. But the keys were his thing, and he had an
yeah.
accordion. So they would make
I
songs
hear about that.
like with Omeka drumming and guys on the accordion, and I can't play instruments. I don't have that gift, and I never tried to mold it or build it. So I just stuck to the rap. So I'll be like, okay, you guys do that, I'll rap. And then for me, I was always then they were talking about making this big old band, and I'm like, bro, we can. It's hard enough for me to just keep meeting guys like together. Hey, we get all these people, and then oh my god, this is gonna be crazy. Because I always worked. I had a son when I was 18, my first child.
Okay.
So I always had to work. I was responsible. I always had my son with me. So it was like I had no choice but to work. Gaja didn't have that responsibility, so he didn't always have to work, and neither did Omeka. So they had a lot more time while I was working during the day to with nothing to do. So they would build together and just start building and creating music. And at that time, I was very protective of Acid Rain because a lot of our other friends had tried to get in the group or were in the group for a week, and it just didn't work. It was like the way that me and Gaja treated it wasn't being reciprocated by the others. So by the time Omeka was coming in, I'm like, oh, here's another guy trying to get his way in. But so I was a little bit protective, but there was like I could see that the dedication was there.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what it was. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, at least while I'm working and I'm not around, Gaja has someone to occupy him, and they can keep working and work on stuff. So when I can after work and I'm done and whatever, I'm able to come out and meet up. Like there's new stuff to work on, or there's new stuff to listen to and build off of. So it worked out really good. So then it felt natural. It didn't feel like how any of the other ones did, where it was feeling forced. It felt natural. And so after a while, it just was like, well, this guy's group, he's part of the group, and we tested him. We had him do a hook. We're like, all right, you can do a hook for this song. We're doing a remix of a song we previously had. This beat requires a hook. You do the hook. We like the hook. We're like, all right. So then we did another song where all three of us were just trading off. That song is called Anger. And that actually happened to be one of our like the most funnest songs that we had at the time.
Nice.
So after that, it was done. And then so that was what that was Omeka kind of like proving to Acid Rain and that he belongs. Like he attacked Gaja with the music, and he knew how to get back. He's like, I got something beyond no God. I got instruments, right? And it worked. And then for me, it was like, okay, cool. These hooks, these verses, like damn, like it's hard enough. Like I know how hard it is to keep up with Gaja. And prior to all of this, like I went through like Gaja ninja rap school. Like I did not know rhythm. I did not know so my rhymes were very, very like basic in the beginning, and just learning and studying God and just seeing his reaction in the face. He would make certain verses like So like I went through this vigorous course of just trying to be able to almost keep up, to kind of keep up with the guy, right? And so when I can see that Omeka was all right, cool, like he can keep up with us. Hey, and this is a balance too. It's now I'm not the only one who can't keep up. Like it's not that we could, you know what I mean? Now it's like there's more of a balance, more of a balance. So it just felt good, and it was natural. And then next it was all the other homies that were around, the people that thought they can be in Acid Rain, or thought that Acid Rain is only you two guys, and then he had to prove it to them. And like he did this song called Ocoslan, which was like the first time that he did this his Spanish rap in Spanish.
Yeah, he's super dope at that.
Yeah, and the way that he rapped in Spanish and over the beat that he rapped it to was just so perfect. It was like if Gaja could rap in Spanish, right? So it was it was so next level, and it was nothing that any of us in our circle could do, right? So that was his way of telling everybody, like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. I'm here. I'm part of Acid Rain, and this is what. Now get over it. Get over it. And once we did that, once that happened, it was just like the Triforce was completed, and there was no hindrance. Everybody understood these are the three, and we had different DJs that would rotate at the time, but for sure, as far as MCs go, these are the three plus their DJ, whichever one it is, and it's been great ever since. I mean, there's been so many since then. It's been a wild ride, but I love it and enjoyed every minute of it. So
Hey, it's an amazing ride, and so that's important too for people that watch this. Is the timeline of Acid Rain? So it was you met Gaja, then you guys became Acid Rain, and you guys were active two at first. And so, how long were you rapping before you met Gaja?
So I had probably maybe seriously like a year, maybe a year and a half.
Wow. Okay. Early.
Serious. Me and my cousin were very like into it and really like trying to be a group. Um,
Okay.
but it didn't feel the same. It just didn't feel right. So we
Okay.
were, I would say, trying at that time. Once I met Gaja, it was like uh, we first. It just the feeling was different, and the way that we went about it was different. So it just felt more
Yeah.
serious. Like, okay, we're really. And again, it was a whole learning process the first year of just how just trying to understand how does this guy rap like this? Like how can he have all those styles like rhythm within rhythm? I didn't understand it, so I didn't know how to
Yeah.
call it. I was just, how do you do that? Like, you
Yeah.
know.
And you guys both, man, complement each other real well. And so, when did you guys decide, like, hey, let's be a group? And tell me about how you guys came up with the Acid Rain name. Where did that come from?
So okay, so all through, so again, once me and him kind of clicked and we realized we were the two that were serious out of me and my cousin and my cousin's friend and then him and his friend. Like once we realized we were the two, that's when we decided we were going to be a group. We would just talk and build every day. So there was that, and then on
Oh,
weekend,
that's so
I mean,
dope.
I was 14, so my stepdad would take me to his house and drop me off, and spend the weekend there, and we just be writing rhymes all weekend long, and then other weekends we come over to my house,
Sick.
right? But I would say from like 14 to 16 were our years to really gel,
Man.
learn each other, learn how to be a group and how to work with each other and understand each other's like strengths and weaknesses and how to build off of them. So then during that time frame, then we became Gaja hooked up with a bunch of guys, bunch of people, more people that he knew that I met through him, and we became Marble Jar. We're part of the
Okay.
Marble Jar
Yep.
group. So yeah, and our name was 3 p.m. Three Fat Mellifluents, because and mellifluent,
Oh,
no one could pronounce it. It's dope. It means sweet sound, smooth flow, and a poetic voice or manner, but no one could
yeah.
pronounce it. So and that was us just trying a little bit too hard to be too obscure or too
Yeah,
crazy, right?
right, right. Yeah,
And
at the
so,
time.
but we did release that Marble Jar tape as 3 p.m. And
Compilation,
then
yeah.
we made a
That's your
demo
first
called The
tape, right?
Swordfish. Yeah, that was the first tape that we had ever put out. That came out like in '95. And
Man.
yeah, so it was a compilation with all of us. And then it was just like we need to come up with a new name, man. Like once we put the tape out and things were getting more serious and we were doing shows and it was just more like, our name's gonna be is being said more, being put on flyers.
Right.
We will at 3 p.m. Is that the time your show is? Like they would make fun of us and all everything you could do, right? And then and never
Dude.
pronounce mellifluence right. So we just, I mean, even when we went to Project Blow the very first time, we were mellifluence and they were laughing at us on the
Oh,
stage. QG was like,
dang.
"Well,
That's
I can't even say
crazy.
this shit. They better be able to rap." But anyways, so we were trying to come up with the name, and Gaja has always really been into like jazz, just different types of music. Especially back then, he like rap was starting to get like wasn't enough for him. He needed more. And so he liked jazz and acid jazz and fusion and all this stuff. So he was like, so he liked the idea of acid. So one day he just hit me up. He's like, I got the name. We're going to be called Acid Rain. We're acid
Oh,
because
wow.
we're crazy and, we're just a crazy component. And then there's acid jazz. And if we were jazz, we'd be acid jazz. We would be regular jazz. So I say acid. He's like, and then we're rain because like we're kings. So we're going to reign as kings.
Dude,
So he's like,
that is
Acid Rain. And I
dope.
was like, yo, I love that. That's dope, man.
That
Perfect.
is
Acid
sick.
Rain. Okay, let's do it. And so then we became Acid Rain.
Yeah, and so you too, like your name, I love, man, and I love the way that you spell it and you put it, and it looks good. It looks good when you look at it on print. So was Beyond the first name that you started with, or did you
I
go through a
started
ton of
with
names?
I started with Bond. So when I wanted to come up with a name, I really liked the letter B. Like, and I always wanted to be a tagger, but I could never write good. No matter how much I practiced and wrote. And what I didn't want to be was a toy because I knew too many taggers. Like all my homies were like real taggers. So it was like,
Yeah.
I can't be a toy, but I like the B and I like writing the B. So I was like, I'm gonna come up with a name with B. So I went by Bond. And
Oh
Guy's
man.
name was Gage. Bond, Engage were our names. And
Oh,
then,
dang.
then
Oh,
they
I've never heard
evolved.
this.
They evolved, and so one day, you know how
Oh,
it's so stupid, but I'm gonna tell the story anyway. So you know how Snoop Dogg's like biatch
yeah,
his album, the Doggy Style
absolutely.
album.
Doggy
Well,
style, yep.
one time, gosh, looked at me and was like Beyond, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
Beyond,
dang.
bro, Beyond. And so that was that. And so then he
Oh,
was like,
sick.
so everybody was digging like Beyond. Oh, that's a dope morph. Like, all right, morph. And so then he was feeling kind of bugged out. Like, well, I don't know about my name. Now my name needs to morph. And then again, one day out of nowhere, he called me. He's like, I got it. I got my name. I'm gonna be Gaja. I was like, okay, Gaja. He's like, well, Gaja, that's like an elephant god. It's like, there's like it's all this thing. He had all these things, and he was really into it. I was like, Gaja, Gaja. I was like, and it was so weird, right, to me at the time. And I was like, you know
So,
what? That's perfect for you because you're a crazy guy, Gaja. Okay, and then it stuck. Now it feels
oh, that,
natural. Back
so,
then it was just the weirdest thing because
yeah,
it didn't exist.
you had to get
That word
used
to
to
me
it.
didn't exist. Yeah. Now it makes
Yeah,
perfect sense. But yeah, so I mean, he's always been the creative force of what
yeah,
we do, what we are, and so um, that's why he's like a lot of everything is just based about his ideas and what he wants. That's why he came up with the names and everything, and
yeah,
because he's such a creative force. Even though we're a
yeah.
group, it's you want to. I know some people always want everything to be like, well, everything has to be equal. Like I have to come up with some of the decisions too. No, like if you got someone who's willing to put in a little bit more and it makes sense and that's their
Yeah,
creative like gift to the group, man, take it. So
yeah,
anytime you wanted to be creative and just express or kind of be like, this is how it needs to be, or this is what we're doing, or this is the concept of
yeah,
this particular. Let's do it. Let's go for you. If you say so, we got it. And
yeah,
and of course he would reciprocate the end. I mean, we come up with ideas and stuff too. Um,
yeah.
but it's just all the next level stuff was typically Gaja.
Yeah, and I read that you were very good at like the managerial aspect of the group. That you were very good at kind of like just hey, this is keeping the train on track and just keeping everything on a rhythm. So I love just the different personalities that you had, and then
Yeah.
Omek obviously he's got that he was very good at social media and was good with interviewing and so you guys
Mhm.
just like really man were like Voltron in my eyes, man. And so just it was very inspiring to watch you guys as you guys travel through and progress as a group, man. Just very impressive from the day one that I saw you guys. And
Thank
so
you.
it's always interesting to me when I hear these day one stories. And do you recall like the moment that you first picked up the pencil and just said, "I'm gonna try to write a rap real quick"? And
Um,
and what was like what made you pick up the pen and write a rap?
so I remember so yeah, there was a summer before I had my Gaja, there was this one summer where I just really had the bug. I was at my grandparents' house. I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13. And so I couldn't really do much. So
Hmm.
I would just chill and none of my other friends that around there, that were at my grandparents' house that I would hang out with on the daily, like were into rap or were wanting to rap at all. So for me, that was like that was what I was brought to the table amongst those group of friends there. So I would just like, let me, my freestyles were like whatever, and I knew it back then. I'm like, how can I? I'm trying to rap and it doesn't make sense. Let me just write something, and then I would write and write, and I don't like that. And then finally, I got some raps that I felt were like, oh, these are cool. These are good enough to like out of nowhere just rip out a rap, and then these guys are crazy. So back then we would ride our bikes, and so I put some of those kind of things in my raps, and then just
Yeah.
surprise like, oh, okay. And so from there is when I learned how to like, okay, now I want to take it to another level and just maybe try to write a
Nice.
song, maybe come up with an idea and do that. But again, my even though like I had influences that I would listen to, like like Far Side and like a Cypress
Yeah.
Hill and stuff like that. Like I still wasn't practiced enough to where so my rap was still kind of basic, right? It
Yeah.
was basic. It was cool for the cool kid for the little kids, the kids that I messed with. I didn't rap like, oh, cool, great, right? But when I'm comparing them to the people that I listen to and like, I'm like, it's got to be better. It's got to be better. So I would
Yeah.
just practice writing. Then I connected with my cousin and we tried to, we would write some songs or try to write a little bit. But it wasn't until I really met Gaja where it got different
Right.
and I took it a lot more serious. And then I started learning it's not just about the rhymes, it's about the way you rhyme and about the style and about the flow and
Yeah.
about, how you enunciate words, and then it led to projection and all that kind of stuff. So like until I met him wasn't until it was really serious. But prior to that, like one of my first raps was during the summer, and it was just about
Nice.
just random kid stuff, nothing crazy.
Yeah, and is it crazy to think just after all these years, 20 plus years of rapping and just man, establishing yourself as a legend in the game, just to think how far you've come along and from that day one when you think about it, is it wild to think about everything you've accomplished?
It is wild because so check this out. Like so right now I work for AAA. I'm an
Mhm.
analyst. I've been working with them for like I think 17 years now. But the
Okay.
position that I have, I got it 15 years ago. This position that I have, I mean, I was entry level grunt, a nobody, right? I was just whatever. Anybody can get that job, and
Okay.
and then they did like this challenge, like these because it's a big call center and they've got to do morale things or whatever. And then plus they want to learn from the people who are taking the calls and learn from the employees. So they created this challenge, create a tool where you can teach the rest of your peers how to, when someone calls and
Yeah.
they broke down, to get the location correctly the first time. Like
Oh
because
wow.
you call and then I send someone, I send the driver to over here and you're over there. Like, not
Right.
only are you going to be mad that you waited 30 minutes and then now the guy's not there, you know,
Yep.
we got to also pay that guy because the guy went where we said. And then we got to
Yep.
pay him again to go to you. And then you're mad. You're like, well, I'm waiting an hour. Like, now give me a free call. So
Yeah.
AAA loses a lot of money just by sending a driver to the wrong place.
Sure,
And
fair
so how
enough.
can we do that? So I made a song. And nobody there knew I was a rapper. I made a song. I filmed a video for it. I packaged it. I put
Okay.
it in a packaging and printed out printed it out, made it like super legit. And when you open it, on one side there's the CD, and the other side there's the DVD. I made 25 of those because through that challenge, uh,
Oh.
you had a budget. So, and then my supervisor at that time was super, like, she was, I think she was really loaded. She was like an older lady, and I think she, like, word was that she had a lot of money. So she let me go
Yeah.
way over the budget. I spent like $150 because I bought all these supplies and no one
Yeah.
knew what I was going to do. Right. So I go to present. I bring my laptop, I bring my monitors because I wanted everything to sound the way it sounded, like how
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mixed it and everything. And on the big screen plays my video. And it's a customized song for AAA about talking about their programs, and I was able to film their dispatchers in their area. Like, so it was just totally like, it's a legit video.
Oh,
And
that's so
that
cool.
that got my name buzzing so much that the position that I'm in now, you need to have like, a certain level of like degrees, like college
Absolutely.
education, experience. I had none of that. But the manager was like,
Oh.
"Is that the guy? The guy that did the song is maybe I gotta at least give him an interview,
Awesome.
at least." And I knew that if I get that, it's gonna change my life, and it did.
Yeah.
I sold myself. I
Awesome.
got that damn job, and it changed my life. I mean, I was there. I went from being just a small time employee to being an exempt employee where salary, and
That is
I
awesome.
basically was able to buy a house for my family. Like
Oh,
that shit
man.
changed. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, it was like my years that I spent into music, I didn't put that in schooling, but those years still, I used that to get me what a degree or what going to school would have got me, at least for this job.
That's oh,
Right. And I
that
don't
is
have those student
awesome.
loans to about it. So for me, music has been like, it's been a blessing to me.
Oh
And I've
man.
always tried to use it as a tool in that manner. And then there's been plenty of times too where, you know, I hooked up with different producers, and they had outlets where they, I need people to do voiceovers to submit for commercials. And every time
Yeah.
you do one, if you don't land, no worries, you get a demo fee. Cool. So
Yeah.
many of those I did just saved me throughout time. They came at perfect times when I needed money for rent or whatever. I did that. And a couple of them I landed. And when you land them, you get
Yeah.
your demo fee. Plus you get, like, whatever the budget is, sometimes 3 grand, sometimes 2,500,
Wow.
whatever it is. All those seem to just fall and land right when I needed them. And
So dope.
so for me, all this time that I spent doing music, it was necessary for my life. For one, music is my
Wow.
balance. But two, like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a home. I don't know what I would do
Wow.
if I didn't know how to make that song that gave me that opportunity. So, I
Yeah.
mean, music
Oh,
is amazing.
that's an amazing story, man. Like literally, like hip hop, like helped your life out, man. That's so great, man. Dang, that's wild. I've never heard that. And
Yeah.
you're good at that too, because I saw like on your page, you do a lot of customized songs for like businesses or the teams, and that was so cool, man. I love that, man. And then
Thanks.
you're just a creative guy in general, man. And I mean, I love hearing stories like that. And so with that, like, man, you just and you mentioned all the work that you put in, man. You started day one, and the LA scene, man. I always compare it to like the New York scene, dude. It's like just hard to come up, and so
Yeah.
you guys earned your stripes, and so man, it's everything you've done and where you're at today. All credit to the hard work that you put in, man. Props to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and so really, hey, man, I want to take it back real quick to some of the music that you made, and so you mentioned, and so that was good. I read a story about the accordion and the drums, and and so you validated for me. So is it true that like when you guys were performing, that you guys had to lug that stuff around, and there were no
Yeah,
cars?
these
And
guys are
is that true?
crazy. They're crazy. They wanted to do that. Like, you want to do this stuff live? Like, let's do it. Let's go for it. That's, I mean, majority rules, right? Two against one. So we would do
Yeah.
it, and as in my head, as corny as I thought it was going to be, it actually became something that was really dope. And then, like, yeah, now
Right.
it's a story, and there's people who remember, and yeah, they just trip because they're like, damn, this was up there with an accordion. He was up here with half a drum set, and BeOnd's just
Yeah.
rapping. Like, that's, that was,
On the
you know.
bus, did you guys actually transport the stuff on a bus, or is
We
that?
I always had a car. There have been times
Oh,
though where,
okay.
like, if Naja needed to get somewhere, right? And
Uh-huh.
like, let's say for the sake of time, he's gonna meet me somewhere, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would roll around with his big ass box with his accordion. I mean, Gaja is he even up until the very end, he never had a car.
Yeah.
So he was
Oh,
always on the bus, on the train, always walking. But what I tell people, and
yeah.
people are always like, damn, this guy needs to get a car, get a, I'm like, don't you realize it? Like, Gaja, when he's walking, what do you see him doing? He's going like this. He's thinking. His mouth is moving. He's writing raps. Like,
Oh, that's
like he was
crazy.
the epitome of utilizing time for
Yeah.
his artistry. Like, always, if
Yeah.
he was on the bus, he was sitting there thinking. And a lot of his rhymes he wrote in his head. Like, they were like a perfect freestyle. So like, he can get the first line, he
Yeah.
gets it, he likes it, he likes it, he likes it, and then he'll go to the next one, and then he'll go to the next one, and then because he's just so repetitive in his head over and over, he likes it, and he's refining it, and making it perfect.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he'll go backwards and then change other lines here, or change even the accent of how he sends the word. And you like it when I say it this way? He says some crazy stuff, or when I say it this way? Oh, I don't know. They're both fine. I don't know. Whichever one you like. Kind of same to me, but that's just how crazy it was. So I always tell people, like, nah, don't take that from him. Don't feel bad that he didn't have. If he didn't have a car, he probably wouldn't be the same Gaja that he is, because he'd be
Wow.
focused on driving and not crashing. Like, nah, when he was out getting around, he was writing those raps. And I mean, look at, aside from all the stuff that we have as Acid Rain, he has so many solo projects and so many collabs with so many different people,
Right.
and those are all just stuff that he was putting together in his mind. And I mean, sometimes he'll come to
Wow.
my house to record. Oh, I got to record some songs for my album. Blah blah blah. Come through. He record like 5 or 6 different like pieces. Like, whether it's,
That is
like
crazy.
2 verses and a hook, and then for, a verse for this and a verse for that, and then a hook for this, or whatever. And I was sending files all over the place for the guy. So, like, he was
Are
just
you
like,
are you a fast writer too? He sounded like he was a fast writer. Are you an Omeka? Do you guys write at the same speed or?
it depends.
Yeah,
There's times where it just flows
yeah,
and it just comes out, and it's just
true.
like, ooh, that one was easier. There's some times where it's more of a challenge, or even the beat sometimes could be a challenge, and
Yeah,
I don't want the beat to beat me, so it's like, nah, I'm gonna really like, I'm gonna hone it. And then there's times where, like, the words, it's like, I'm recycling ideas. Like, I already had that idea, I already, and try to find it. So it depends. We,
yeah,
if push come to shove, and we're in a crunch, yeah, we can write it, get it in, record
yeah,
it, knock it. But
yeah. And I feel like the way that you write, it's so unique, man. And just like for me, it's like it's mind blowing. Like, do you write with a beat or without a beat? What does Beyond like to do?
it's either or. But
Okay.
like, sometimes, so I have a tendency, so I like faster beats. So if I write
Right.
without a beat, the metronome in my head is a little bit faster, like upbeat.
I
So
got it.
so if I write it like that and then I get a beat that's not as fast as I was thinking in my head, then my rap don't sound as good, or I don't think so because the beat's slower, right? So
Okay.
I prefer to rhyme to a beat. Even if I don't have a beat, I'll just go find an instrumental that I like and then write to that, so that at least I have a base to go off of when I want to put a beat to the verse. But mostly I try to write as, I just write to the beats that I need to write to mostly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
I'm
because
bored or
you
got something I want to write, and I'll just find something to write to.
yeah, you pull off some cadences that like I'm just like, God damn, how does he do that shit, man? And yeah, it's wild, man. So I was just curious to especially from you on how you did that. And so can you quickly tell me about Acid Lab Records, how that was conceived and how that came about?
So Acid Rain has always been like we've always been self-service artists. And I'm prior, so even early on, the very first tapes, and from the Marble Jar tapes, 96, 90, and 95, then 96, we put out Acid Trip, 97,
Yep.
or yeah, then 97 was
What is
this,
it?
actually, then Acidic Compositions, and then it was Missing Links. So all those tapes we
Ooh,
did
man.
ourselves, and we put all these things out ourselves. So we've always kind of been that for us, our own business.
That's
And then
dope.
when Omeka got involved, and as he started getting deeper into it, he created Nomadic Sound System, that label.
Okay.
And that label
Mhm.
is basically, he got a bunch of his homies that he grew up with to invest, and then the band that he was part of, Slow Rider, the guys in there
Yep.
that had the knowledge of the music business helped him. They worked together to create a label so that Acid Rain and Slow Rider, the band and the group, could have an outlet to put our own music out, right?
Dope.
And so because we've always been that way, it was like it's natural for us to want to create our own label. After that, after that project, we did get approached by Alpha Pub, Daddy Kev's label, to put
Right.
out an album. But of course, that was just a one album deal. And then we
Okay.
also connected, and Gaja made relations with NASA, Uncommon NASA in New
Uncommon
York.
NASA. Yep.
Right. And so we were able to put an album out through his label. But it was
Lunar.
still like, these are one album deals when we're not trying to be part of labels like that unless
Right.
it's just the opportunity wasn't there, I guess. And so we had
Okay.
to, and we were still self-servicing ourselves. So we were just like, let's just become a label. Let's just evolve. Like, we're a group. We already know how to independently like get our music out, find distributors, whatever we need to do, we do it. So let's just create a label. And we
Yeah.
really wanted to start just pumping out music and being able to put music, like our friends' music out,
Yep.
and guide them in the right way of how at least we think it should go, or at least better than what we think they could do for themselves. So
Yeah.
we created the label 2011, Acid Lab Records, and we came out heavy. Gaja came with a four song EP that we put on
Okay.
Bandcamp. He put out that, and then I think he had a solo album. I had a solo album. I had an album with React with Destruct. We came out the
Yep.
gate heavy with projects, real heavy, and then
Crazy.
and then it kind of then it slowed down a little bit because everything, we threw it all out and we had to catch up and make music. And then Gaja going, he kept putting stuff out, and then for a while it was like life just got the better of us as far
Sure.
as a group, and our time split. There was a while he was living out of state. There was times,
Yeah.
and I had a second child, with my wife, and so my time to be able to work on music became a little scarce, and so
Okay.
just to do music together as a group was starting to become harder. And then Omeka has always been, because the way his career was set up was more as a solo artist, and the
Right.
opportunity became so big that he couldn't turn them down. So he had to go. So we became split up for a bit, which never deterred any of us because we continued to do music still, and as
That's
a
right.
group, but just slow and go, and as individuals. So
Yeah.
so for the label, the music was not coming as consistent as we had liked it to or wanted to and started to.
Mhm.
It was still there nonetheless, and we still rep the label. And then
Yeah.
Gaja would put stuff out, and then as we would be able to put more Acid Rain projects out, we would connect it with
Yeah.
Geppo, put out Losaka, and
Yep.
we just get, and then we put out Synergy with all three of us.
That's right.
And so it was cool. But then once then once Gaja passed, for me, it was like, well, how do I, like, we have unfinished business. Like, we have music that hasn't been released. We have a whole album that's produced by Duke Westlake that should be out, that will be out this year. It's, I mean, it's like, it's close to being done. And I don't want to say too much right now, but we did speak to somebody who was gonna, you know, who did say they were willing to put this out, so it'll be able to be put out bigger than what we can do for ourselves. So I'm really excited for that. And once we can do that, it'll give, I feel it'll give everybody one last acid, like full, complete, like a closure album with all of us, because all three of us, me, Mecca, and guys, are on every song. So, and it's, and I think we have like 9 songs on there, or 8 songs and a couple of interludes. So, you know, it's cool. But so I had to figure out, like, we have unfinished business. How am I going to continue the work? And after a while, after I got, you know, I was healed up a little bit and able to be strong enough to like figure out what I need to do, it was like, okay, I need to really represent for Gaja. I really need to get our label up and out. So all the people that are around me that are like-minded, and the people that I know me and Gaja would be comfortable releasing their music, I'm gonna start releasing their music. I'm gonna start. So, and for me, I work better as a group, because I've always been the group, right? I've done stuff on my own and it's cool, but I think as a group, I'm better. And I feel like I know how to bring out the best out of other people. And so when I feel like as a team, if I know how to, like, even if I'm the one like saying, this is how we all share the load, like, because we're all sharing it, like, we could move together stronger and faster. And so, so what I have now with the label, so as of last, like, August, I think since last August or September, ever since then, we've been releasing singles constantly, music, and constant. So the label just jumped, and we kickstarted it with a song about Gaja called Massive Pain, right? It rhymes with acid rain, massive pain. This shit hurts like a like a mother. So, you know, we got Gaja's dad. Gaja's dad is there's a band called Tierra, which was a really big band. They're out of East LA, and especially during like the 80s, like the 60s and 70s, they were huge. And it broke up into 2 bands, but nonetheless, his father was part of one, and had always been a musician. So, you know, we brought him into the studio to lay a whole verse, and over the hook and pretty much over the whole song, he's just playing sax and flute.
Oh my gosh!
And then you know, me and Omeka have verses on there. So that was like our tribute to Gaja for Massive Rain. We did do that 30-man song for him. The whole hip hop community got together. It was beautiful. And what I'm actually gonna do is I need to submit that to. It's so hard because there's so many artists on there, and they're ranging, and some of them are big, that if I put it on Spotify or something, they're gonna flag it, because some of them are gonna need to get the permission, which I can probably get, but it's a hassle, right? So for now, I'm just keeping it in Bandcamp. But one of my ideas that I want to do with that is to make submit it to the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest tribute album for a LA artist, because I don't think that title exists, right? And it's over 30 artists on that song, and it's all about, everybody's rhyming about Gaja, right? So I don't think anything like that exists. So I want to submit that. But I think to do that, I need to be able to put it out there. So that's what I'm working on next. But anyways, so, you know, we have those. So other than but the Massive Pain was our first personal tribute song from just a group about Gaja. And from there, ever since then, we're 1 to 2 singles since, and sometimes videos. And then now what we're doing with the label is we're treated as a group. So there's 7 of us artists, and right now, like, we're performing, like, basically, if you book any one of us, what we're throwing back at you is like, well, no, I'm gonna bring my group. We're gonna be asking.
I love.
For promoters, it's a better deal. Like, great, cool, because this is my budget anyway. Don't worry about that. This is what you're gonna get. You may just get the guy you're asking for, or you may get up to 7 of us. I don't know. It's who's available, right? Who's available to go to the rehearsals? Who's available for that date? And then we'll set it up. Yeah. So we've been operating right now as a group, and man, just like, people are responding really well. We're doing these things every week. We call them acid raps. It's basically just a rap.
I love those videos. Yeah.
So just fitting a rap to a beat. Nothing. We're not inventing anything new, right? But what we're doing is giving content more consistently from our artists, and it's week after week, and it's exciting because it's not the same guy. there's 7 of us, so it like I call it a season. So by the time it cycles out, it's a season. And then we do cool things where like if we do so like for the last time we did one where all of us did a barbarian session, which is like a
Okay.
rhyming with Digging Daily over at a Hotbox Studio, and they film it and they put it on YouTube. So like we'll do that instead of an acid rap for that week. That's the acid rap. So we do these things to just kind of keep the content coming, let everybody know that our guys can rap, and we got many styles, and it's trying to keep it real colorful and different. So as a label right now, the momentum is really good, and I feel like
Awesome.
now is the time to strike them and let people know like people are looking at us as like a new group, which is awesome for me because it's like great. Yeah, I want you to
Manifestation, yeah.
consider me a group, because when you see me and my new group in action, you're gonna be so mind blown because it's a bunch of seasoned MCs, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
our shows are like next level. The way we interact, the way we're setting them up. I mean,
Yeah.
the DJ is like everything. I mean, we're rehearsing. So to me, this is an extension of Acid Rain. So if anything that's an extension of Acid Rain has to set up to an Acid Rain standard.
That standard. Yeah. Yeah. I
And most
love
of
it.
the guys that are in the label have been with Acid Rain forever, so they already know that.
Okay.
Some of the newer guys, they've seen what Acid Rain does, and they're
Yeah.
professional as well, so they understand the assignment. So for me, it's like it's super. It feels so good right now. It's just like we're coming out the gate, and everything we're doing, every show we do, we got a tribute to Gaja in it. We'll do one of our
That's
hits,
dope.
one of our classics, and we'll leave his vocals in there, and we'll have the
Ooh.
crowd sing along with him, and let
Oh my
let him
God,
do it.
man.
So everything, because for me,
Yeah.
that's what it's about. That's what's important. That's why I'm continuing to do this, because we have unfinished business. So I need
Yep.
to finish the business and respect, the thought process that he put into it, when this all started. And so it's my job to keep it going. It's Omega's job to keep it going. That's what we're doing. These other guys understand that they're jumping aboard. It's their job to keep it going. So we're all very like finding ways how we can incorporate Gaja in different things. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that duty that you feel to keep him alive through music and just
Yeah.
remembering him, and that super beautiful, man. I just did a tribute not too long ago, and so yeah, man, I just whatever we can do to keep his music and name alive, man. That's awesome, man. I love how you guys do that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so hey, man, that's awesome, man. So I didn't realize that you guys were kind of looking at it as a group now, and I thought that was super cool. And you guys just do a lot of cool stuff, man. I was gonna mention the acid raps. I thought yours that you did in January at Club Biz was super fresh, and I did notice the colors too. It was super awesome.
Yeah.
And some other stuff I wanted to highlight too was your project with MC Gibo from Japan to Losaka. I was
Mhm.
like, dude, he's like the Japanese version of Acid Rain, dude. And so there was no better collaboration. I was like, this is on point, man. And so how did you guys come to form? So you guys did the album Losaka, which is Los Angeles and Osaka, but how did that combination happen? What yeah,
Dude,
that was just on.
So Gaja somehow connected with him online. He was like, "Yo," he's like, "Yo, this dude Gibo." He's like, "Dude, he's like the Japanese Mike the Nine." He's like he has songs.
Dude,
He has songs
true.
with all the homies. He's like, everyone knows who he is. He's like, and he's down. He wants to do a song. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do a song.
Crazy.
So I was working on this like maxi single at the time, and I had a beat, and
Formula
I was like,
3.
yeah, Formula 3. So I was like, I have this beat. Let's just get him on that. I go, just jump on it, guys. I think I don't know if me and Gaja already did a verse, or I had a verse done, and I was like, jump on it, and then we'll get him. Or if we had did it, then we're like, well, let's add him to it. I don't remember. I just know that it was like that was the time. So I was like, okay, let's have him jump on this first. They jumped on that, and then it was just like it just was done so quick, and it was like, well, we could do more. And then
Yeah.
that beat was more of a beat that's on my flavor, just more of like like a boom bap type,
Yep.
straightforward hip hop beat. um Gaja was like, I want to hear this dude on some like more intricate beats, some crazy. I might get some beats and let's see what he does. And then so we did a song, and we're like, yeah, let's just we're like, dude, we can get ourselves in Japan if we do a song with this dude, if we do an album. And that's what we were
Yeah.
thinking. So,
Uh,
so we did it. We did the whole album, and then
yeah.
he had already had planned to come out to LA and was saving up and was going to come to LA. So I was like, okay,
Okay.
so that's our plan. Then we're going to finish this album with enough time for him to get here. And when he's here, we can do a bunch of shows. We'll have the physical CDs and we'll do all that. So we did that. I think we even did, we was, I
Man.
think that might have been around South by Southwest time. So because I know we did,
Oh, sick. Went to
I know we
Texas
did
then?
do some Texas shows, and we did some shows
Oh,
everywhere,
super
all over.
dope.
So yeah, it was dope, man. So he came at a good time. We did a bunch of songs, but a bunch of shows, and people were really digging the album. And
I
I
love
thought,
it, man.
I thought it was a dope collab.
Yeah, international collaboration, man, and just two different languages, super dope. And Tale of Two Cities and Disconnected were my
Yeah,
favorite songs from that album. But yeah, again, just a lot of good content. I went back and rewatched some of your Cypher Effect videos, and so that was cool. Omega rapping in Spanish, and then Gaja with the crazy delivery, and then you lyrics as always, man. And this reminded me when you spit your verses. There's one in particular where you talk about got a finger for the critic, bet your girl could fit it. I was like, it reminded me of your battle days. I was like, dude, I forgot this guy is
yeah,
like battle tested from Project Blowed. And so it's just I love that you guys have a lot of stuff online, and just it reminds me of the long history that you have as Acid Rain together. Super dope, man.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I got to look, man. I got some VHS tapes, and I think my friend like filmed that show that you guys did
I
back in the
have
'90s.
footage of that. One of my
Is it
homies, the
Cactus
Cactus
Club? Is
Club.
that where it's
I
at?
have it.
Oh,
I have it.
dang! You have
It's in
it.
my, I think it's in my in a Google. I can send you the thing. It's just really hard to hear. It's even some footage of like before, and like
Yeah.
we're just like in, I don't know, in some room eating pizza or something. I don't know. But
That was.
I can send you the link to it. Like,
Oh, that'd be great, man.
yeah.
And so that just kind of reminds me of just how I first encountered your music. But with that, hey man, you got a storied career, and like I said at the beginning, you guys are legends and pillars in the LA rap scene and just in underground hip hop in general. And so, man, you guys, man, long time generals in the game. But what motivates you to still do music? You're a busy man, so how do you keep up with it?
For me, it's my balance. Like I have to write rhymes. I have to have like clever rhymes. I just have to. Like I have to have
Yeah,
a new one every so often. So even if like I was like, forget the label, forget rapping, forget that, I would still have to write rhymes and be able to spit for my own self, right? But what's motivating to me is that I need to finish our work that we started. I mean,
yeah,
I have the time now. Like my oldest son is 26. My youngest son is 16, about to be 17. So I don't need to hold their hands anymore. Like I don't.
yeah.
I have time, and and my wife and I are in such a good place. Like you know, we I have plenty of time to go out and do stuff with my friends, and without it being a thing of like, oh, you just don't want to, I mean, we
Yeah, yeah,
and she's been with me for like, it's already been almost 20 years now that we've been together,
yeah.
period. So she's been to so many shows that she don't need to go. She's
Lucky her,
older, and
dude.
she's like, look, when you were young, whatever, when you were young and all that, you were still all caught up with your boys. It wasn't about the girls. So now that you're old, and
Yeah.
she's like, I don't even care about now. Those old hip hop girls are after you. Sure, I'm like exactly. Well, for one, you already know that's not what it is. But two, even if it was, nothing to worry about, babe. You're fine.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so we're good. I mean, and I mean everybody in the scene knows her too. So it's like
Yeah.
she kind of feels like you're fine being out. My eyes are everywhere. Everyone knows how we knows us. So so that and then that's usually the biggest part, I think, or at least in relationships that I see
Yeah.
or that I experienced in the past, was more about the not knowing what's going on when you're out. Well, she knows exactly what we're doing when I'm out, and she knows that I'm just being a big old kid acting like I'm in my 20s still, like just excited to rap. So she's like, go do your thing, right? And it works for me because then I could focus on it without feeling like with stuff in the back of my
Guilty.
head that things aren't
Yeah.
right at home. Like I could just focus on it. So for reals, it's really like I have the time like I did when I was in my 20s, and so I'm pushing forward. And I understand how important time is, so I'm not wasting any more of it. So I mean, and not that I was wasting anymore, but I'm not going to let it
Yeah.
waste. Now that I know that I have the ability to be out, to
Yep.
work on music, to be in the studio, to do stuff all night, whatever I need to do, like I'm doing it now that I can. And so
Yeah.
we're
Oh,
just
that's
pushing. I
awesome,
mean, I
man.
mean today actually, Joaquin Daniels, one of my artists, his album
Yep.
just dropped today, Turquoise Soul. We're going to be playing in Pomona or Monrovia at a brewery,
Oh
Pacific Plate
man.
Brewery. we're going to be celebrating his release. His birthday's in a few days, so we're celebrating his birthday. So today is a big label day for us. We're really excited. Last night he did his Barbarian session, so that was his acid rap for this week.
Oh, very cool.
So and he did one of his very like aggressive chopper songs. So I encourage everybody go look up Digging Daily Barbarian Session. Watch it, Daniel. It's fire. It's out. You know, we dropped it last night. He went and this dude got out of work. We went straight down there. He one-taked it and we were gone. It was like, damn, you're a beat. And wait till people hear it. They're gonna be like, there's no way he did that in one take, but he did. And if they don't believe, go to the show tonight and you'll see him do it again. But yeah, so like again, it's really dope having all these guys. We're all just pumping out music, just excited for each other, excited for what we're doing, and just having fun.
Yeah, and every time I feel like I know all your music, I always find something that I didn't know you guys put out, man. And so the catalog is thick and just very extensive, man. So much music to look from Acid Rain and just the entire family. And so with that, now I want to move to the fun portion of the interview, just some lighthearted questions to close the interview out. And so I want to see what kind of humor BeOND has. What is your favorite comedy movie of all time?
Comedy movie of all time? Oh man. Comedy movie. Okay, I'll tell you. I'm gonna go way back. This one is like classic, The Three Amigos.
Oh, I haven't heard that in a while. Yeah.
That one has to be my favorite.
One.
Yeah.
Unique. I haven't heard that in a while. Good. Chevy Chase, man. That's my dude, man. All those guys.
Chase, Martin Short.
Okay.
Steve Martin, yeah.
Good one. All right, hey, so you've got a battle background and you've been at the legendary Project BeOND. You've done a little bit of Good Life. All right, so I know you're not a stranger to battling. What is your best Yo Mama joke in your arsenal?
All right, so I'm gonna have to say this one was inspired by the OG, but this one hits every time. Your mama's such a hoe. She could blow the wrinkles out of a ball sack.
Good. That's good. I've never heard that one either. That's good. That's good. All right, that's gonna be a promo video too for this one, for this interview. All right, hey, if BeOND could have any superhero power, what would it be and why?
Oh man, that's so hard. I would have to say fly. I guess fly. I feel like that's a waste because there's so many other things that would be dope. I would love to walk through walls. I would love to see, but yeah, flying would have to be the best. Only because like, especially when I was young, I would always dream about flying. Flying. I have to say.
Dope. Very cool. All right, next question, man. Hey, I know your son. You showcased that he's done some commercials and he's on his way, man, and I love it. And so, but now I want to ask if BeOND, if they did a movie about BeOND and Acid Rain, which actor would you pick to play you?
Oh, damn. An actor to play me. I'd get my son. I'd have my son play me.
Oh, nice. Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Ice Cube. I love it, man. Yeah. All right, good one. All right, man. Hey, I think Southern Cali has the best Mexican food, hands down. Are you choosing carne asada fries or a California burrito?
Carne asada fries.
Oh, all day, man. That's my favorite. Okay. All right. Who you going with? Selena or Selena Gomez?
No, well, the real Selena or Jennifer Lopez as Selena? Nah, I probably have to go with Selena because the Selena Gomez, the way she looks now is kind of crazy. So
Okay. All right. BeOND's favorite Jennifer Lopez movie, Made in Manhattan or Selena?
Selena, because I've never seen the other one.
Oh, okay. Oh man. All right. Okay. All right. So hey, with that, again, I mentioned all throughout the interview, man, legend in the game, general status, man. I'm excited to know that there's another Acid Rain album to find some closure in the end. But man, you guys put your work, and again, when I first saw you guys in the late '90s and throughout the years, man, you guys have just been an impressive group when it comes to lyrics and performance. You guys definitely role models for the game. It's been an honor to deep dive into your career And so, are there any special other projects that you want to mention before we close this amazing interview out?
Just, I mean, let everybody know Rhyme Fest. If you're not familiar with Rhyme Fest, it's a show
Yep.
that has been throwing, they've been going down in LA a few years now. This year, so last year, for I don't know if anybody knows, but I organized a Project Blowed. We were calling it a Project Blowed Cipher, but what we really did was a Project Blowed mixtape. We had
Oh,
like
shoot.
20 Blodians all on stage at the same time. Like, so like Mike and Dime came out
Damn.
and did like the beginning of Seventh Seal, and then Mike Manson came in and did a verse over the second verse, right? And then
Oh,
we
my
had, like
God.
AC do if it wasn't for Mike Check, and then I did a second verse, and so we were doing that. We did a live mixtape. It was
Oh,
like
my
52 minutes
gosh.
long with CVE, LA Cool, Ora. I mean, it was like
God.
there was 20 plus. So this year, August, in August they're going to be Rhyme Fest again, and this year we're
The
doing 30.
lineup is crazy.
Right. So this year we're doing the 30 man, and we're gonna do we're looking to do a traditional cipher, but maybe break it up since there's so this year we're gonna in December we're gonna be celebrating the 30th anniversary of Load. So I think because of that we're gonna because of that we're gonna probably go with a 30-man cipher theme
Okay. Wow.
for at Rhyme Fest with Load. It's gonna be broken up a little bit, maybe 10 at a time, and some performances in between. But there's definitely gonna be some like fierce verses from Blodians just coming at you. So I definitely want people to know about that. That's coming. And if
Yeah.
if you haven't heard about what we did last year, the videos and everything they're circulating, find it because it's dope.
Oh, my gosh.
And what we're gonna do this year is we're just taking it to a next level. So definitely
Right on.
keep Rhyme Fest on your radar, especially if you're out here in LA.
Oh, for sure, man. Well, with that, hey, thank you again for your time on the weekend, especially. Any final words before we close this interview out, man? Thank you so much for your time.
Cool. Not just stay up with the Acid Lab. You can go to our Instagram. I'm in the right now acidlabrecords.com. It has a lot of our old information. I'm in the process of changing that to our basically connecting it to our link tree. Right now, to me, link tree is the best way to go. You get there, you can see every, a direct link to everything that we want you to know about. It's organized in a way to where, this is what's center stage, this is what's important now. Here, meet the guys, here's some of our videos. And so it's all, it's organized. So once I get that switched over to that, definitely, go to acidlabrecords.com. You can still go there now, and find links, but
Yeah.
just whatever you need to do to stay in tune with Acid Lab Records, that please do that.
Do.
That's where
Yes,
you can get all the information of what we're doing. And I every now and then I have stuff with Gaja that's on it that's being released. So
Yeah.
tuned.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and long live Acid Rain. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for interviewing me, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me stop recording.